You awake, bro?
Yeah, I'm awake, but it's just like I'm sitting here trying to make sure all my thoughts are together. And also I'm thinking about like what did like you ever go to grocery store and forget something and you don't know what it is?
Yeah, and
Now
then
that
as
I'm
soon as
back,
you get home, you're like,
yeah,
damn.
but it's still haunting me right now. It's still haunting me that I don't know what the hell that item is that I forgot.
Was it a
So,
sauce? Was it a seasoning? It's usually a sauce or a seasoning or a cleaning item.
man, I it's gonna when I figure out too, I'm gonna scream it and it's gonna piss me off because now I'm gonna have to go back.
You know the thing that I always forget is pink salt and A1 steak sauce. Those are the things I always forget to get when I'm at the grocery store. Always. And I get
Oh,
home and I'm like cooking my meat and I'm just like prepping my food. So I always Shani is great. She like preps all my meat and veggies, and then I just mix my food together. And then I open the cabinet and I'm like, I have no steak sauce. So I have to measure out a teaspoon of barbecue sauce because I can't go over my carb intake for the day. And A1 steak sauce has no carbs in it. So I was like, dang it. But that's what I usually forget, messing my keto up.
oh shit! I know what I forgot. It's goddamn toothpaste. I forgot to. Welcome to another episode of the Identity Booth. Wake your asses up, man. We got stuff to do.
Yeah. As y'all can't tell, it's early in the morning for us. We up. So we already been out doing stuff. That's why we telling you to get up. It's an early bird gets the worm.
It's always strange because we'll do a video like this and then we'll say wake your ass up, but then it'll come out at like 6 p.m. Like, why is he berating us? What did we do? Why
it's for our people on the other side of the world that's asleep. Get up.
Yeah, people angry at us. People who take naps in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
that's who we're talking about right now.
Oh yeah, you definitely take naps in the middle of the day.
But our job here is to debate for you as we try to identify with each other. My name is Heero. That is Eric. And we are the amalgamation of the Identity Booth. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And today we are talking about something, we're talking about something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. You feel me? A lot of people have difficulties talking about this, but if more people did this, Eric, I think there would be a little bit more transparency in the work environment. I think it would give people the ability to lose that ability of saying I'm being underpaid because everyone knows what's going on. And I had the opportunity to talk to my sister about this a little bit before we jumped on. It's funny that in the federal government, everyone knows what they make because they have to make that public records.
And it's by grade. So
it's by grade.
So like if you come in at a G7 or a G12, you know that I'm in this very tight range, and the person who's also in the same grade or rank as me makes within this little bubble of a certain dollar amount. And so you don't feel any kind of way because we're all getting very, very similar pay for very, very similar work.
And I think the corporate world could definitely benefit from having that level of transparency. But today we want to talk about pay scale because we feel like too often it's being used in a defense that it shouldn't exist. Like no one should ever have the ability to say, I feel I'm being cheated for my pay because I don't know what people around me are making. And just to give context to this conversation happened with me and Eric, where me and Eric were having one of our rundowns, and I got a call. I said, hey, let me take this call. It's from a new number. I think it's a job opportunity. And I got off the phone, and like 3 minutes later, I came back. Eric was like, damn, that was quick. And it was just because along with talking about pay scale, you also have to know your value. You have to also know your worth. So like I was able to decipher within these 3 minutes of me talking with this person what the pay was, what they expected from me, and why yes or no for me. And the thing that was amazing was that this person clearly knew my value, but was hoping I didn't know my own value because of just how they started conversation. And this is no disrespect to anyone who has been offered, $28 an hour, $24 an hour. That's great money for certain people. That's more than $15.34, which
Yeah.
they call they call the bare minimum that we couldn't get is
Yeah.
better than $7.38, which is the current minimum, something like that.
765.
765. Oh Lordy,
It's
Lordy,
been
we
that. It's
got
been
30
that. It's
cents.
been. Nah, bro. It's just been so long since you've made that little amount of money that you don't even know what it is.
Well, then tell us, Eric, what is it about this situation that is kind of mundane? Like, have you ever been offered something that you are more valuable than?
Oh, 100%. Probably I've been in a corporate job now I'm in my 9th year. Yeah, I started back 2012, 2013-ish. Um, and the crazy thing is when the first job I took it because I was getting married. It was paying 15.65 an hour. To me, that was like, okay, that's double the minimum wage. And where me and Shawnee were living, it was more than enough to cover the bills and for us to still go have a good time. So it made sense. But as I began to do the job and I began to work, I was like, wait a minute, the effort that I'm putting out does not match the money that I'm bringing home. So it automatically started me in the process of saying, okay, I need to gain some more skills. I need to gain some more certs. I need to do the things necessary to move my pay up. So in that first company, I ended up switching jobs because for me, it was a $4 pay increase. I took it off rip. I was like, so I mean, I instantly gave myself a $4 raise to take another position in the same organization, doing something very similar. I said, but a lot of people aren't doing that. They get in those fields, they just get happy because this is more money than they've ever made. They don't actually stop and assess the work that they're doing versus the output. Are they getting the outcome that they should get? Yeah. And the second thing is, I feel like a lot of people, especially I feel like a lot of Black folks, and honestly, predominantly women, tend to be extremely agreeable. They think this is all that they can have. And so they just accept it. But then later they go, well, I feel like I'm underpaid. I said, well, why did you accept the position in the first place? I said, you agreed to work this job for this amount of pay. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing the job. You agreed. So you told the organization that your time and your effort was only valued at this dollar amount. So you can't come back and say later, hey, I'm not paid fairly. I'm not equally paid. You agreed to it. So you got to take some accountability when it comes to that. Heero and I talk all the time. Like, you got to get yourself in a position financially. Get somewhere, stay, keep your head down, work, stack up your money. Put 6-9 months of rent and bills and emergency money aside so that you can get in a driver's seat of your career. You can start looking for other opportunities, and you don't have to take that crap. You can listen, the negotiating table is always open. You were looking for a job when you got that one, so you can go get another gig. Like, you can. I'm just saying you have to put yourself in a position financially to be the boss of your dollar.
I say that, and that's a great point. But I also like to give people some, as we're assessing value. Let's talk about your leverage points.
Yes.
What are the 4 things you need to leverage a negotiation? And this doesn't necessarily mean the tactics, your word for your phrasings, because no matter how you choose to negotiate, it's a learning experience. It's a learning curve. Absolutely. And there's some people you just can't negotiate with. But you having these 4 leverage points will make you way more impressive, way more of a presence, and way more confident in your approach. And the first thing is, and this is me strictly speaking, you need time.
Yes.
Time needs to be on your side. And I say time because when you think about trying to get a job and do all these things, you have to understand the process. If this is a company that's willing to take 3 months, which I've had some jobs do for interview process, they got time to go through all your stuff and thoroughly make your way. And also it's a mechanism because they know that Jim Bob or whoever is going to be retiring in 2 months. So they got time to look into things. So they're very lackadaisical, and they hope that you show pressure or you show a sense of urgency. There's this difference between being urgent in your approach and being desperate in your approach, and they can tell the difference. So you have to be able to
hold
figure
on.
that out.
Can we stop there? Can you explain to the people specifically what it means to appear urgent and excited about the opportunity versus being desperate for an opportunity.
And I'll give you this, and I'll use one of my personal examples. This was like when I was leaving Texas to go to Maryland, and that was a 3-month interview process.
Yeah,
someone who was like when they showed the bag, because they knew what they had. They showed the bag up front. But for me, that wasn't it, because I knew if most of the time when you can throw money at a problem, it means you don't have a solution. Like you're looking for a situation. But to give you context, once again, getting back to the point of it, desperate versus time, I was able to thoroughly interview the director, my opposing manager. And then I wanted to also know, what is the future plan of this position? Because there was no next step. This was the ceiling. But for me, if there's 3 people in front of me who have all hit this ceiling, where am I going to go in 5 years? They didn't have these answers for me, which let me know why the person whose spot I'm taking left.
Yep.
The other thing that you have to be innately aware about is when they say the price up front, they're gaslighting you in all reality, because if you ask for 10K more and they said no, you'd be almost baffled. Like, so that is your limit, and that you don't intend to give me more money or rate me on my value. You're hoping that the money is enough for me and that the problems in itself will solve. So like, these are things that I could easily pick up on, but it gives me the time and opportunity to be able to dictate, is that what I want to do? Don't lull yourself into a false sense of security, which leads me into my second thing. What you have to be flexible in the sense that I can get up and go anywhere. I've lived in 32 states in this country, and I'm not afraid to add more states to the country. I mean, more states to my moving list. I like my dad says, I heard a nickel drop over there and I went to go get it. You have to be very confident in your ability to get up and move, because when you can, and this is something unique to millennials these days, because we don't give a damn. Like, if we don't like a situation, we're leaving. Like, we're not going to sit there and we're going to try and tough it out and make sure everything, like, there's certain times for that. But the thing that makes us so unique to our generation, to other generations, is a lot of us don't own houses, and if we do, we can sell. It's a booming market. You can sell your house and get 13% interest on it. So like, we revel in those opportunities. We revel in the ability to be able to do that. We enjoy doing that, and a lot of employers know that, and that's why you see a lot of them come out with that contract outright. Signing a contract that doesn't help you is pointless.
Yes.
Like, don't sign a I always tell this to people: don't buy a car at sticker price. Whatever's on the sticker, you don't buy it. You don't pay for it. Is there anything you want to throw into this list as far as adding to leverage before I go into the other two?
I'm gonna stick on this flexibility point. Like, it definitely means you need to be flexible enough to pick up and move, but it also means you need to be flexible in your current situation. Let's say you're in a position and things aren't going the way you want them to go right now. You have to be flexible enough as a person and patient enough as a person to allow yourself to, you got to kind of be like water. You got to allow yourself to fit into the glass. There are opportunities that will present themselves. So Heero put out 2 things: time and flexibility. And sometimes those 2 elements require you to obey those principles in your current situation. Again, but it goes back to you being in having enough leverage to be in a strong financial position where you could walk away, and also just be able to wait some things out. It could be from another employer or at your current employer, but you got to do that.
Yeah, you look, every situation is going to be different, but if you're 26 and the person in front of you is 30 years old, and you're going for that person's position, and there's no ceiling for that person, what are the chances of him leaving or her leaving? Like, you got to be realistic about that. So it definitely divulge and like deep dive your situation. But the next thing that I want to talk about that makes it really hard for people to have leverage and negotiate is just a lack of experience. For every job you have, If you've not once, I know a lot of people that have all taken jobs and never once been to the negotiating table. They get an offer, they don't counter offer, they don't even give themselves the grace to, when they say, what is your pay scale? And for all you people, unless it's mandatory, never put your required pay on a thing. And if it is, you always add 10,000 to whatever you want.
Yes.
You add 10,000 to it.
Or 10%.
10%. That's also a good one there. Yeah. But my thing is, you don't have experience in negotiating because you've never taken that chance. And that's literally you as an adult. No, most of the things you understand and experience as an adult happens from experience. Yes. So the fact that you've never sat down and just politely said, could I hear a counter offer for negotiation? And this doesn't necessarily mean you have to lay all your cards on the table. You could simply say, I have another offer on the table. I'm open to negotiating. What are some opportunities? And while you putting the onus on the company, it gives you the opportunity to learn something about them. What are their fears? What are their insecurities? Because I love when a company displays to me without them knowing that I am the MVP pick. And for all you that don't know what an MVP pick is usually when they interview people, they interview them in threes. They have, as I like to call it, Eric hates this term, but the token pick, which is basically a minority or somebody that they have to show. And then they have someone who's qualified, but then there's someone they want, but they need to show that there's not a bias. And this is corporate America. So they are obligated by certain rules and regulations, but this is the gist of it. And when
can I give an example here?
Please.
All right. So I am in the hiring process at my company. We just interviewed 6 candidates this past week. To Heero's point, we did 3 on one day, we did 3 on the other day. There was somebody, we had a good group of people, all kind of race, ethnicity, gender, socioeconomic background. And going into the interview, I had somebody in mind that I wanted to hire. After the entire interview process, I completely went in a different direction. We put an offer to this person. She took the offer. She just moved to Texas, and she took the offer. It is $4 less than what I was willing to pay her. She took it. I didn't put her comp together. Somebody else put it together, and she took the offer. Now, what do? I have to let her take that L, and now I have to coach her up about negotiating. That's going to be my first thing. Her skill set and her credentials are far beyond some people that I have on my staff that negotiated their pay. And guess what? These people who negotiated their pay are millennials. They're 24, 25, 26-year-olds that said, nah, I'm not taking that. But this lady's late 30s and is like, yeah, I'm taking that. What? Why? You don't have to. It is just the fact that she didn't say, hey, listen, I've worked at this place. This is one of the most prestigious hospitals. It's very difficult to get in. I got in. I have all these credentials. I have all this experience. And yet people with less experience negotiate their pay and making more than her. So you have to say, hey, you're coming in here. I was thinking more like, okay, for example, if you go in a job, hypothetically, they offer you $20 an hour, and the going rate for your job countrywide is 23 to 24 an hour, you need to ask for 26. They come back, they'll say, we'll pay you 24, 25. You're in the range you want to be. They know that they can afford to pay you more money. You know that you're worth more money, so make them give you more money.
You have to be, and to Eric's point, it's and the last point I have to make on this is going to really like give you context to why this is so important. It's a fear of conflict, but if you're good at conflict resolution, this is not a problem, because the last point, which is the most important one, but is really the reason why no one negotiates anymore, is because you're afraid to be told no. Point blank, period. You are afraid for them to say, what? You asked for more? We're rescinding our offer. What? You think this is a negotiating? This was you should be thankful to be here. That's what you think is going to happen. That's what you
Exactly.
think is going to happen. And
Yeah.
you have to know that
Yeah.
when you're negotiating, the greatest leverage I have is to be able to
Mm.
say, go fuck yourself.
Yes. And to that point, you wouldn't even be in the position to negotiate pay if they didn't want you. And you have to understand that if they extend you an offer, you're the person that they wanted above everybody else that they interview. So now is your time to advocate for yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
if they say, hey, we can't do that, they're going to go back and forth. If they come to a stalemate, they're going to keep going up until they say, you know what, that's outside of our range. We can't do that. Um, or they're gonna keep going back and forth with you until you say that's out of my range. I can't work for that little money, and
And
then it's over. But
yeah,
you have all the leverage, and you have to use it.
I hear people saying, okay, so what did you say, Hero? What did you do, Eric? And for me, my skill set gives me two things. I have two additional leverages. I have an education background that gives me that, and I have 10 years of experience in the healthcare industry. So that also helps me. But I tend to use these things. Comfort.
Mm-hmm.
I am not willing to compromise my level of comfort for this
Exactly.
position.
Mm-hmm.
As you well know, a comfortable employee is a productive and
Absolutely.
valuable employee.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring that same level of energy to this company. If you are open to negotiating further, I'd be glad to. But if you cannot, I also understand. And this is a key term that a lot of them makes their ears twitch up. And this is my polite way of saying this is your last shot. As much as this is an interview for me, I am also interviewing you. And as we pride
Absolutely.
ourselves on taking care of the less fortunate, the sick, the helpless, it's important that the people taking care of them are
Are
taken
taken
care
care
of.
of.
And that's and literally when I finish, that's my. You see how well I have that memorized? I've
Yep.
literally used it for years.
And y'all see how I was able to finish his thought is because we've had to say it. We've had this conversation with each other. And this is the thing. You gotta and another thing I want to piggyback here with Hero. Hero and I have rehearsed these things. We talk openly about these things with our friends. We put dollar amounts out with our friends. Don't be secretive with your friends, especially if they're on par with you, if they're professional people. You need to see where you're at
Mm-hmm.
because the thing is your pay is tied within a few $1,000s of the five people that you're closest with. Okay. And so you got to know if you're running with a group of people, you guys got to be transparent about your pay because at the end of the day, if your people are really your people, they want to see you get the bag just as much as you want to see them get the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you guys know where each other are, it's a lot easier. Another example, my little brother, I talk to him about money a lot. You know why? Because I'm 6.5 years older than him. And I remember about 3 years ago, we had a kind of conversation about money. I told him where I was when I got married, how little money I made, how much when I took my first job, and then how much I was currently getting paid. That was 3 years ago. And my brother told me, he said, "Thank you so much. I had no idea if I was even in the right range of pay for my age. I had no idea where to go and how to gauge what I needed to ask for." And since then, my brother has negotiated 2 additional raises and then got in 2 yearly raises. My brother has gotten since in 3 years he's given himself a $5 raise.
And it's amazing to do. And this doesn't just extend to family members.
Yeah, it's the
If this
friends,
is if you're at
acquaintances.
work, and this goes back to the beginning of the conversation and how we'll tie a bow on this. Talk about pay at work. There are no laws that
Yes.
in this country, from the Federal Labor or Federal Bureau of Labor, there are
Mm-hmm.
no laws that state specifically you cannot go up to someone and disclose your pay or have them disclose it to you. Now, forcing someone to do it, that's definitely out of question. But
Mm-hmm.
having a conversation or dialogue, this is what unions are for, is what
Mm-hmm.
makes people able to have these conversations. And I'm an advocate for certain unions. When unions play fair and they actually have a role in helping the people that they're serving, minus,
Mm-hmm.
being political lobbyists, it makes such a great use of their talent and power. Such for a great example is the nurses union out of Dallas. They literally fought tooth and nail to make sure that people who wanted to be vaccinated, other than frontline workers, say for example, janitors, cooks, and med techs and med surge people who are frontline people, but they're not seen as frontline by the upper heads, to get them vaccinated. And that was done through their union. So like having this ability to have comfortable conversations. If there's someone, not everyone has friends at work. Hi, my name's Heero. But if you do have people you mess with, do that. Talk to them, ask them these questions, and whether you believe it or not, you're practicing for the next opportunity. But really, that's sort of like how we tied them both. And I think if you guys have tell us about a time you negotiated yourself up into a situation, or tell us about a time where you fell out of a situation, and we can talk about it down in the comment section below. But for what it's worth, Eric, where can they find us, and who we supporting?
First of all, you can find us right here on YouTube. Now, as far as who we're supporting, you can go right down in the description box. Heero is going to place a link down there for you guys to click on for the Endurance 24. Shout out Altenberg and Russo, 24-hour run to change some young people's lives, man. We're raising, our goal is to raise $10,000 to hand out scholarships to TF North high school graduating seniors in Illinois. It is where Heero and his family went to high school, and so it's just very near and dear to his heart. And so we just want to raise that money and support them. We will be broadcasting that 24-hour run live on May 7th, I believe.
Yes.
And we're going to be here for it. So we've already raised $3,000. And so we've got a little over 6 weeks to raise the remaining $7,000. I think we've already got pledges from fire department and police department there. So we just want to make sure that everybody and their mama can get in, so we can send some young people to college, send them to vocational school, trade school, whatever it is that they want to do, become an entrepreneur, whatever that is. After that, make sure you hit the link tree, all the places that we are. Shout out to TikTok. Go over and hit our TikTok, hit our IG up. We greatly appreciate it. Anchor, Spotify, they kind of paying us right now. It's pennies, but we'll take it. And then also go hit that Amazon link, do your Amazon shopping through our affiliate link, and let's take some of Jeff Bezos' money.
I definitely appreciate you guys, man. Put on your goddamn mask. Take care of yourselves.
Yes.
Go get your money. Go get the bag.
Go get
go get the bag.
Go get it, man. Listen, and if you need some negotiating tactics, come down here in the comment section. Me and Heero have no problem hopping on Discord with you after hours, having a conversation and role playing with you, man. We seriously want you to go get whatever it is that you're worth. So, yeah.
Shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night. Don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can catch the vibes.